A steel heavyweight takes on the city of Windsor.
Every time I hear that hammer hit, it's like driving a stake in my heart.
Why foreign steel has been used at Banwell Road. Strike vote. How the dispute between OPSU and Ontario's colleges could be expanding. And we help you get your garden ready for winter. Final tips of the season from Sandy and Gary.
The best time to fertilize trees and shrubs is actually in the fall.
CTV News with Stephanie Mazzotti.
The call to buy Canadian rang out loud and clear today at one of Windsor's busiest intersections. Union leaders, local steelworkers, and one of Canada's largest industry voices took their fight to the corner of Banwell and E.C. Row, where foreign steel is being used to build a new overpass. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on TV and radio. The construction at Banwell and E.C. Row is a symbol of how Canada's steel industry is losing ground. That was the message today at that rally, attended by our Sanjay Maro, and he joins me now with our top story. Sanjay.
Michelle, organizers say what's happening at that intersection is not an isolated case, but in Windsor, it is one of the clearest examples of a systemic problem. They believe Canada is building too much of its future on foreign steel, while local plants capable of supplying those materials are being left on the sidelines. These steel beams are why roughly 3 dozen steel workers and union leaders gathered at the intersection of E.C. Row and Banwell Friday afternoon. They warn Canada's reliance on imported steel is eroding domestic jobs and national pride.
And every time I hear that hammer hit, it's like driving a stake in my heart and in my gut. It's terrible. You know, they're pounding this foreign steel into our soil to build our infrastructure, and it's actually just, it defies logic and common sense.
Labels on these beams put up for an overpass show they were imported from South Korea, and according to steel titan Barry Zeckelman, these could have easily been made at Atlas Tube in Harrow, about a 35-minute drive away.
We've moved product to the U.S., and I don't want to do that. And they're hardworking people. They deserve to have a great job and great pay.
Veteran steel worker Scott Cressman says what's happening here is being felt across shop floors in the steel sector. At Atlas Tube in Harrow,
production at our plant is down, probably a good 40% at this point, but it's going to drop even farther. It's hurting our jobs, it's hurting our incomes, and it's hurting our families and communities.
200 people work at Atlas Tube, and for Cressman, every missed contract means less revenue, lost tax dollars, and growing concern about job security. Union leaders from Hamilton and Nanticoke joined the rally, representing roughly 2,000 steelworkers, calling on Ottawa to raise retaliatory tariffs from 25% to 50% and require Canadian steel in publicly funded projects.
The steel that our company that we work for makes, Stelco, is further produced by these workers from Atlas that can be used in these projects. So we're kind of disappointed. They're using offshore steel.
Prime Minister Mark Carney recently met with U.S. President Donald Trump to try and settle steel and aluminum disputes, and while both sides called the talks productive, no definitive deal was reached. And in a statement late this afternoon, the City of Windsor says the steel used in the Banwell Corridor interchange was purchased through Canadian distributors but made overseas, since that specific type of steel is not manufactured in this country. Officials say sourcing from Korean and Luxembourg suppliers helped avoid supply delays and cost overruns, with those piles accounting for less than 1% of the project's total value. The city adding most of the remaining steel, including rebar, handrails, and water main casings, was produced in Canada. Michelle.
All right, Sanjay, thank you so much for that. An interesting response there from the city about the project. Clearly, there's nothing we can do about it at this point. I'm wondering, though, that's a very busy part of the city. Was traffic backing up? Were there any traffic issues?
Yeah, traffic wasn't backed up at all. It is quite busy, as you mentioned, and organizers say that was really the point of this rally. Get this in front of as many eyes as possible with those beams in the background to really send that message home.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense to have it there, because now everyone driving by there will think of it now. So they got their message through it.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you so much for this important story. Sanjay Maro reporting tonight for us in the newsroom. The Prime Minister has announced a series of measures the government says will make life more affordable for Canadian families. It comes just weeks before Mark Carney unveils his first ever federal budget. As CTV's Rachel Aiello reports, the measures include recent campaign pledges and one long overdue Liberal promise.
Today, the Prime Minister took a long promised step towards ensuring all Canadians are fully covered under this country's social safety net. Starting next year, the Canada Revenue Agency will automatically file taxes for low-income individuals.
This program will pay out hundreds of millions of dollars in benefits in the next few years that would otherwise be left unclaimed.
The Liberals are also making a pilot program that provides food to schools nationwide permanent, and are renewing the Canada Strong Pass, making museums, parks, and train tickets cheaper for a month over the December holidays and again for summer 2026.
Since no one can possibly experience all that Canada has to offer in just a few short months.
The announcement, the start of a political communication strategy.
Today was a preview of some of the things we're going to see in the next federal budget.
There's going to be more good news, trust me.
That was exactly my question.
Trust me.
But not all see it as good news.
They're printing cash to pay for their out-of-control spending.
Today, the government couldn't say why the years-old Liberal promise to make tax filing easier hadn't been acted on sooner, or why it'll take until 2028 to fully implement it.
I mean, we can talk all day about why something didn't happen in 2023 or 24 or 22, what have you, but I know certainly moving forward in this budget, 25, 26, 27, we have ambitious goals.
The Prime Minister said these measures will be considered operational rather than capital expenditures, a new distinction this government intends to make in its budgets. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
As Rachel just said, Ottawa is making Canada's national food program permanent by providing $216 million each year to ensure students across the country have access to healthy meals at school. CTV's Chris Campbell joins us now with more on that story. Chris.
Yes, Michelle, the promise of permanent funding is being welcomed here in Windsor. The program was first created by the Trudeau government with $1 billion over 5 years, $1 billion, that is, over 5 years, aimed at feeding about 400,000 children each year. Now, Prime Minister Carney says that support will become permanent starting in 2029.
It's about time. It's about time. You know, this is long overdue.
Local leaders say the move could help ensure no child goes hungry at school, and that consistent funding will make a difference.
This is so important for our country and so important for our kids, and I'm glad to hear about it. I think it's a great thing. Like, being healthy is, you know, is the most important thing you can be when you're growing up, when you're getting old. To get your brain working properly, to get your mind working properly.
There's a serious need in our schools, especially since the pandemic with the increased cost of living and food prices. As we all know, we all go to the grocery store. They don't seem to be coming down, and so for those people that are living on the margins, this will be a huge help to them and feeding their families.
We got whole wheat pasta with a meat sauce and peppers. They get cucumbers and dip, yogurt dip. And we got some whole wheat buns, so it's all based on healthy diet.
Earlier this year, a pilot program providing students with free nutritious lunches was tested twice at Roseville Public School.
The food is really good.
Educators and advocates have long said students learn better when they're well nourished.
There's so much data to support that students that have good nutrition are going to do better overall. The outcomes are better. You know, it's always heartbreaking for an educator to see, you know, someone who maybe doesn't have a lunch with them that day.
Good nutrition fuels learning, confidence, and hope. This approach signals meaningful progress towards a coordinated national framework that supports children's health and academic success.
It's good because a lot of kids go to school hungry and they can't function. That little bit of food makes them think better.
Across the city, residents are also applauding the plan.
Price of groceries is crazy. I don't know how kids are going to live nowadays with the price of groceries and all that. And rent.
I think it's a great idea. Nobody should be hungry.
There's so many people in the way the world is today. Some kids, they have no food at home to eat. You know, they can't have breakfast. So for them to go to school and be able to eat, which gets them learning better too because they have food in their belly, their brains work better. I think it's a great program if they do it.
The National School Food Program is expected to continue expanding over the next few years, with details on implementation and provincial partnerships still to come. Michelle?
Thanks so much for this important story, Chris. Chris Campbell reporting for us tonight in the newsroom. And his story is our question of the day. Are you in favor of a permanent national school food program? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. Yesterday, we asked if you think boycotting U.S. goods and travel is helpful in strengthening Canada's bargaining position. Just shy of 1,000 people voted. 73% say yes, it is. All right, the long weekend is nearly upon us. Joining me once again on the roof after another beauty autumn day is our meteorologist, Gary Archibald.
Michelle, it looks pretty good right now, in fact, but the clouds have moved in. It's mid to upper level cloud, well, mostly mid-level, I'd say stratus and altostratus cloud. With that, it is preceding what is likely to be a frontal boundary passing through a little bit later this evening around 8-9 p.m. And with that, the spin of low pressure, this system that's bringing rain across northern central Ontario, will move into the southern reaches of the province where we live. Some light scattered rainfall is anticipated tonight into early tomorrow morning. But not all is lost, although there could be some lingering showers Saturday. Things look better as we approach Thanksgiving. I'll break that all down just ahead. For now, I'll send it back to you at the desk.
Thanks so much, Gary. Police have laid a new charge in a fatal collision between a rental moving truck and a pedestrian from earlier this year. On March 8th, police say a vehicle was driven onto the sidewalk in the 4700 block of Tecumseh Road East, hitting the pedestrian, then smashing into a building. A 27-year-old woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Inside the rental truck, officers say they found a loaded firearm. 28-year-old Summer Rose Chatterton was previously charged with 7 firearm-related charges, including possession of a loaded firearm. Now police have laid a charge of dangerous driving, causing death. Starting tomorrow, Canada Post workers will get back to work and only picket on a rotating basis. Jan Simpson, the national president of the Canadian Union of Postal Workers, says the move will allow Canadians to get their mail, while the union will continue to work towards a collective agreement. This comes after Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu said the union and the Crown Corporation have a responsibility to find a solution. Full-time support workers at Ontario's public colleges are still on the picket line, but they may soon be joined by their part-time support colleagues. The union representing 10,000 workers say a strike vote will be held next week. The Ontario Public Service Employees Union says part-time workers at all 24 colleges have been working without a contract since January 2024. OPSU Local 137 represents 685 part-time and 195 full-time members at St. Clair College's campuses in Windsor and Chatham. The part-time workers' demands include paid sick days, canceled shift pay for all workers, and wage increases. The union is accusing the College Employer Council of dragging out negotiations and refusing to meet. The council says it has offered wage increases of 2% per year, 6% vacation pay, and 2 paid sick days. It says the union's demands, quote, go beyond what the college is prepared to accept in the financial climate. Some Windsor youth found inspiration today from community mentors and leaders at the WFCU Centre. Family Fuse hosted its annual Influencers Mixer, connecting the next generation with local leaders who've been there and done that. More than 300 high school youth gathered at the WFCU Centre alongside over 40 industry influencers, all with one goal: helping each other grow. The Influencers Mixer, hosted by local nonprofit group Family Fuse, is designed to create space for real conversations about career dreams, life goals, and what success can look like.
Well, I'm hoping that my message is simply received with open arms, and that it allows the young people to see that there's an opportunity to do whatever you want. Go wherever you want and be whatever you want.
A Canadian warship is docking in Windsor this weekend, giving the public a rare chance to step aboard and learn more about the life in the Royal Canadian Navy.
Fire!
Don't be alarmed. His Majesty's Canadian ship, Margaret Brooke, one of the newest vessels in the Navy's fleet, arrived this morning at Dieppe Gardens. The ship will be docked along the waterfront all weekend as part of a tour of marine career fairs on the Great Lakes. Free tours planned Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 5. The Navy hopes events like this will inspire more Canadians to consider a career at sea.
Last night, 17 new recruits joined the Royal Canadian Navy right here in Windsor, Ontario. It's all people from all walks of life. You know, students, high school co-op types, college and university. People who are looking for adventure and a second career. We're seeing all types of people join the Royal Canadian Navy.
In less than 2 weeks' time, the region will start using those new green bins. The Green Bin program officially begins the week of October 20th. It will start in Windsor, Essex, Lakeshore, LaSalle, and Tecumseh first. All food waste and organic material can go in that green bin. The refuse will be sent to Seacliff Energy in Leamington to be converted into a liquid fertilizer. The fertilizer will be used at local farms and greenhouses as early as next year. Halloween is creeping closer, and as more homes light up with spooky spirit, we're building a Halloween map to help you find them. Go to ctvnewswindsor.ca to see where the best decorated houses are in your neighborhood. And if you have a haunted home of your own, email or text us your address and a photo, please. We'll definitely add it to the map. Our email is newsnow@bellmedia.ca. And don't forget, you can also text it to us at 10400. Tensions over auto tariffs heat up. Still ahead on Windsor's News Leader, why Canadian industry says both sides need each other. And Tiger fans, get ready. A win tonight sets up a potential historic playoff clash with the Blue Jays. Can the Bats come alive one more time? Detroit Tigers fans certainly are hoping so, as the team looks to advance one step closer to its first trip to the World Series since 2012. The Tigers are in Seattle tonight for a deciding Game 5. CTV's Bob Belichick joins us now with that story.
Well,
Bob.
Michelle, think about this. How lucky are Tiger fans right now? They get to cheer on their team in October for the second straight year. No complaining there for sure. Now, the last time the Tigers were in the ALCS was back in 2013. I was in Detroit at Comerica Park when they lost to the Boston Red Sox. If they can manage to get through Seattle tonight, they will advance to face the Toronto Blue Jays in what would be the first time that these two teams ever match up in the playoffs.
Let's go Tigers.
Local baseball fans are pulling for the Detroit Tigers to beat the Seattle Mariners in tonight's deciding Game 5 out west.
Absolutely. Tigers take care of business tonight.
Tigers 3-1 tonight.
Here's a Tigers fan looking for a colorful score tonight.
Yes, I'm definitely hoping that the Detroit Tigers are going to do good. I want to see them go all the way.
Here's someone who's hoping that the Tigers blow the Mariners away.
And Scooble is going to cut them all down.
Windsor Spitfires head coach Greg Walters doesn't think Detroit pitching ace Tarek Skubal is going to cut up all of the Mariners. One of his kids played baseball with Seattle first baseman Josh Naylor, who hails from Mississauga.
I love Josh. I know he's gonna go 3 for 4 with a bomb tonight, but Scuba's gonna be too much for Seattle tonight.
Scoob's on the mound. I said, bats come alive. I think we take it tonight.
Ethan Garden with the hot stick last night with 2 goals. Who's going to have the hot bat for the Tigers?
Hopefully they all do, but I think Green's going to have a big one tonight.
The Tigers have won 1 game at Comerica Park in the last 34 days. That was the other day in Detroit. Now they are 1 game away from the American League Championship Series.
I have no doubt the Tigers are coming forward tonight with a big win. I'm going to say 5-3. Close game, but Scuba's going to come through for us, and we're going to have a great series against the Jays coming up.
I hope we play well, but being from Windsor, I hope it's the Tigers. Be a nice series.
Detroit and Toronto have never met in the playoffs.
If both of them get to the LCS, that'd be great for business for at least about 6 or 7 or 8 days until one of them gets eliminated.
When Toronto comes down for the 4 games in Detroit, the amount of influx of people that come to all 3 locations is astronomical, so I can only imagine what it would be like for the playoffs.
This will be the place to be for that series, absolutely.
The Jays haven't been to the ALCS since 2016, Tigers 2013, Seattle 2001.
It would be great if the Tigers could win, and if not, the Blue Jays I'd be happy with as well.
So game one of the American League Championship Series, the ALCS, starts in Toronto, 8 o'clock on Sunday. Now, if you're a Lions fan and a Blue Jays fan and even a Tigers fan if they advance, it's going to be a busy Sunday night because the Lions are playing in Kansas City that night as well at 8 o'clock. So there's going to be a lot of remote control flicking that night, Michelle. Back over to you.
Indeed there is. Thank you so much for lots of voices in that. Bob Belichico reporting tonight on the Tigers for us. Meantime, new reaction tonight to U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick's concerning comments about Canada's auto sector. CTV's Mike Lecouture reports now on the bumpy road ahead.
They don't ask, is it Canadian or American? They said, can we ship it by Tuesday?
At a Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Canadian automotive groups tried to calm the waters. The head of the Canadian Vehicle Manufacturers Association says Howard Lutnick's comments are just posturing.
We know that we need each other. We have an integrated supply chain. Canada is the most important market for the U.S. auto manufacturing sector. So we should expect these ups and downs through the next few weeks.
The U.S. currently has a 25% tariff on Canadian-made cars, with a carve-out for the U.S. elements in those vehicles. However, the Canadian auto parts industry says their American counterparts are lobbying the White House.
Those Canadian assembly plants buy $25 billion worth of parts from our factories every year, and you're hurting us.
The Ford Motor Company reported that tariffs will cost it about $2 billion U.S. this year. General Motors lost $1.1 billion in the second quarter. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the Prime Minister isn't standing up for the industry.
He's accepting second place for Canadian auto workers and continuing tariffs on our finished products.
The federal finance minister disagrees, saying the Carney government is fighting for the auto sector and its workers.
I see ourselves, when I say that, Canada and the U.S. more as complementary than in real competition.
That argument is likely being made by the Minister of Canada-U.S. Trade, Dominic LeBlanc, who remains in Washington to continue talks with his American counterparts. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
A new Angus Reid poll finds most Canadians are not confident a trade deal with the U.S. is on the horizon. 67% think the recent camaraderie between President Trump and Prime Minister Carney is optics and won't lead to actual progress in ending the trade war. Only 20% hope it's a sign of a good deal to come. The majority of those who lack confidence cite Trump's unpredictability and not Carney's handling of the situation. The jobless rate in Windsor has made some improvement but remains the highest in Canada. Statistics Canada reports the jobless rate in the Windsor area dropped to 10.4% in September from 11.1% in August. The jobless rate in Windsor is the only double rate. Across the country, the economy added an unexpected 60,000 jobs in September, keeping the unemployment rate steady at 7.1%. Economists had predicted only a modest gain of 5,000 jobs last month after more than 100,000 losses over the previous two. StatsCan says the gains were concentrated in full-time work. Here's CTV's Adrian Gabriel on the numbers and the story they tell.
This particular unit here.
Inside Rudy Pasquini's stainless steel banding company, the pride he has for his self-made small business is evident.
We're the only ones in Canada that actually do this. We've been doing it since about 2001.
Though his plans to hire have been put on hold after multiple U.S. clients put the brakes on their orders from his Canadian company.
We had a deal cooking in the U.S. that would have probably brought in about $9 million U.S. dollars. And because of the tariffs, it's all been put on hold.
Canada's unemployment rate, not including the pandemic, held at the 9-year high posted in August. Yet the country's economy also posted a net gain of 60,400 jobs in September, led by manufacturing, which accounted for nearly half of the spike in employment. Though the uptick in manufacturing positions isn't being felt across the board.
Adrian, if we had that U.S. business and there were no tariffs, we would have expanded our operation by at least 10 more people.
The news is especially bleak for those trying to enter the job market. Unemployment among youth and young adults aged 15 to 24 increased to 14.7% in September, the highest it's been in 15 years.
anytime the labor market has slacked, young people tend to bear the brunt of it.
The modest employment increase in September was also led by full-time work, according to Statistics Canada.
Here at Band and Go, Rudy Pasquini is calling on more recognition for the manufacturing sector and a renewed understanding of its ability to grow Canada's GDP and power job growth. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Vaughan, Ontario.
On the markets, the TSX fell 419 points. In New York, the Dow plunged 879 and the Nasdaq dropped 820. The Canadian dollar unchanged at 71.43 American. And on commodity markets, gold reached $4,000 an ounce again, but oil fell $2.61 a barrel.
Let's take a look at our CTV News weather snapshot. A beautiful image here thanks to Jonathan Brown. If you have one, send it at 10-400 via text.
Another gorgeous day out there, and the weekend is nearly here. Let's check in on that long weekend forecast with CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald.
Some high cirrus-stratus, the leading edge of a disturbance that will eventually get here. But before it got here, it was a beautiful morning. I was using my telescope to look at the moon this morning from my backyard. Love viewing it during the day or night. Reached a high of 19 degrees, 2 degrees above seasonal. We'll take it. The air quality again in the low category. That too good, but we'll see increasing cloudiness and maybe a increase in terms of the air quality moving into the 4-5 range, projected as moderate for the weekend. More on that in just a moment. Holding between 19 and 17 degrees Celsius. Windsor, Essex towards Chatham-Kent. A bit cooler in Chatham-Kent, Erio and Rondeau Park, but still pleasant enough. Temperatures in the upper teens, low 20s across the beautiful Canadian prairies. Cooler in Vancouver for friends and family out there on the island as well, Victoria. And for the lower Great Lakes, mid to upper teens, still mild. But breeziness has been a big part of the story today. It will get windier later tonight with sustained winds in that 25 to 30 range with gusts in the 40s across much of southern Ontario proper. So windy night, and there's potential of this disturbance moving through central Ontario to usher some showers beginning around 8-9 p.m. our time. And with that, it breaks up all of this pleasant weather. Front, spin of low pressure, counterclockwise swirl, moves through, slides into southern Ontario, increase in the cloud cover and the potential for rain as I speak. Again, 8-9 p.m. towards midnight. And if we do see it at all, it is light. I'm not expecting a washout by any stretch of the imagination over the next 24 to 48 hours. So there is potential of some showers. It will be cloudy tonight. Between 8 and midnight, we'll go from 13 up a degree. Yeah, a little eddy sometimes. The temperatures actually increase a little bit later in the day, and we're seeing that late tonight towards midnight. Take a look at our EnerCare. They are the experts at home. 7-day forecast calling for a cloudy day tomorrow. Showers possible in the morning, and then cloudy with some sunny breaks, 19. Then low 20s Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Average temperature about 21. Then we're looking at 16s from Wednesday, Thursday into Friday. More seasonal values expected as we head towards Tuesday, the day back to school and work. Let's look at your weather.
Lifetime, brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
A measles outbreak in Ontario that started nearly a year ago and which led to more than 2,300 illnesses is now officially over. Public Health Ontario made the declaration because there have been no new measles cases reported for the last 46 days. 165 measles patients needed to be hospitalized. Of them, 95% were not immunized, and most of them were under 19 years of age. One baby died in southwestern Ontario after the mother was infected with measles and gave birth prematurely. London Health Sciences Centre is looking to recruit patients to participate in a trial using a novel way to treat kidney cancer. As CTV's Pauline Chan shows us, it's already proven successful in treating other forms of cancer.
Currently, the standard therapy if kidney cancer hasn't spread is surgery. So either taking the whole kidney out or just the tumor and leaving and just a portion of the kidney itself.
Dr. Derek Kuhl says kidney cancer can affect younger patients with a genetic predisposition to it, but generally patients are older, and it's been associated with things like diabetes, obesity, and high blood pressure.
So it's one of the few cancers where we're actually seeing an overall rise over time in our population.
Kuhl has been trying a new minimally invasive way to treat kidney cancer.
It's called Y90 radioembolization. Fancy term for basically we have these tiny beads. In fact, I can show a little vial here. They're tiny little glass spheres.
A catheter is inserted through the patient's groin.
We navigate that all the way up under X-ray until we get to the arteries supplying the kidney.
A water solution is pumped into the tubing, carrying the radioactive beads.
So then they travel along this catheter all the way through into the patient and then get delivered out the end of our catheter.
Directly to the tumor.
So the radiation will be slowly given over the course of about 2 to 3 weeks before it's really essentially bland. We have a lot of experience using this technology for treating liver cancers for about the last 20 years, and it's been really effective with very, very few in the way of side effects.
So far, Kuhl has done the procedure on 3 patients, and they're hoping to do a total of 16 as part of their trial. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Coming up on Windsor's News Leader, heat or food. For many families, it's a tough winter trade-off. More on the crisis later in our newscast.
5K a day is back on 93.9
Virgin Radio.
Listen to Hannah and Johnny in the morning for your chance to win $5,000
Every weekday.
5K a day.
Virgin Radio.
From the high price of power to skyrocketing grocery bills and the other necessities of life, it's getting harder to keep the heat on while also putting food on the table for many families. As CTV's Hafsa Arif tells us, families have been cutting back and many others are simply going without.
For many families, it's already hard staying warm during the winter, but now it's become a trade-off.
They're in a heat or eat situation, meaning that they've already reduced their discretionary spending within their budget and have cut back on everything that they could cut back on.
A new survey by MNP found 1 in 3 Atlantic Canadians may have to cut back on heat. Another quarter are looking at how to stretch their grocery budgets with coupons, sales, and smaller portions.
The need to use extra credit to cover off some of the costs because the budget does not allow for any additional expenses.
The pressure is playing out in food banks too. Demand is growing not only for food hampers, but for paying power bills through available relief programs.
We're seeing already that people are applying for their power bill, obviously, and heat as well. So we're expecting an uptick in the next couple of weeks for emergency assistance support.
But those funds at Parker Street Food and Furniture Bank are quickly running out.
We're cutting way into our emergency assistance fund for this year already. Unfortunately, because we don't get as much support for that program as or other programs, it means that they'll be on a wait list.
Even though inflation has slowed, the impact hasn't.
It seems like every time I go to the grocery store, there's a price hike. And sometimes I would go in there and be like, I can't afford this, so I put it back on the shelf.
And for many, just when one bill's covered, another one shows up.
I just moved into a place, paid the damage deposit, paid the rent, and then my muffler broke. So the rest of my income went to that. So it's been kind of crazy.
Hafsa Arif, CTV News.
With food insecurity climbing, 2 local credit unions are stepping up to help. Your Neighborhood Credit Union partnered with Comtech Fire Credit Union to expand their 3rd annual food drive to 16 communities across Ontario, from Timmins to Windsor. Today, the giving spirit is alive at the Great Canadian Superstore on Walker Road, where volunteers are collecting donations for the downtown mission.
We're also donating $2,500 to help fill the food bank up and help with the downtown missions operations for the Thanksgiving. And so hopefully we can just help a lot of people have a much better Thanksgiving in Windsor.
My friend Sandy McDonald joins me now to talk about fertilizing. And yes, we are now in fall, but it's an important thing that should be done, right?
Absolutely true. And we don't think a lot about fertilizing in the fall. We get out in the spring with fertilizer for sure. But the best time to fertilize trees and shrubs is actually in the fall.
Okay.
October, even into November is fine. But we often forget about that. We think, just fertilize in spring. But trees and shrubs, this is the time to do it. And we have all kinds of choices of types of fertilizer, but it's more about the timing. So a lot of people are going to know tree spikes. Again, that's the most convenient way. It's a more expensive way, of course, to fertilize trees. But again, instructions will be given to this, and we will place them around the perimeter of the tree. And that's a key point about fertilizing, is that there's no sense putting fertilizer right inside near the trunk. Most of the feeder roots are going to be near where we call the drip line. So this outer edge, this sort of area here, is the area we want the fertilizer to be, because this is where most of the feeding roots will be. So again, the tree spike's very convenient.
Okay.
We can get out the hammer, there's a little plastic cap, we can get them down to the ground. I use a little piece of wood, like a 1x2 or 2x2, and I put them down a little further. You don't want a nice big green tuft of grass growing there. But this is convenient, this type, for sure.
So it's a ring around the drip edge, right?
That's right. So in a kind of ring, if you need to use a lot of them, and they'll give you instruction on the packaging, you can almost do a kind of zigzag pattern around the tree, particularly if you have a lot to put in. It's a small tree, maybe it's a single ring, it's a really big mature tree, and you're trying to bring that back to good health.
Right.
You might even have like a triple row of them, and you would zigzag that around the perimeter of the approximate drip line of the tree. There's even slow release or controlled release fertilizers as well, little pellets. A lot of people are using this in their garden. This can also be used very well for trees. The roots will be active right into the winter. So slow release or control release fertilizer is excellent as well. Again, high first number and pretty high last number.
Right.
Organic growers as well. If you want to use things such as maybe a mixture of bone meal and blood meal, or a mixed fertilizer like this. This has some bone meal, plus it has some feather meal, some alfalfa meal, and that also can work great. It's an organic source of fertilizer, and trees will enjoy it.
All right. Great advice. A great tutorial as always. Sandy McDonald, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Get Gardening.
Would you text your ex for $10,000? 89X is back. Listen for the keywords and text your ex. It's never been more rewarding to get back with your ex. Only on Windsor's Alternative, 89X.
This is your CTV Windsor Our Community Calendar. Gather up your little ghosts and goblins for a family Halloween spooktacular presented by In Honor of the Ones We Love. Sunday, October 26th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. See you next time on Our Community.
And it's time to check in on what's happening now with Kate Otterbein. And Kate, let's go back to our top story, the local use of foreign steel.
Yes, earlier in the show, we told you about concerns raised over the use of foreign steel in the E.C. Row and Banwell Overpass project. Windsor-Tecumseh MPP Andrew Dowie was also there and says the province has already adopted policies that prioritize Canadian-made materials in new infrastructure projects. But he says the E.C. Row and Banwell Overpass was tendered by the City of Windsor, not the province. That contract, he adds, was issued before those new procurement rules took effect.
This project was tendered a long time ago. It's been delayed, and was tendered at a time when we didn't have all our ducks in a row collectively for our new procurement policies that favored Ontario and Canadian spending. So this is just an unfortunate incident of timing.
We've got more details from today's rally at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And also online, we've got that ever popular What's Open, What's Closed long weekend web article.
Yes, and hopefully that's helpful for all of you out there. Head over to our website for the rundown for both Windsor Essex and Chatham-Kent. Some grocery stores and Windsor Crossing are open on the holiday, but government offices, banks, post offices, and Tecumseh and Devonshire malls won't be. Transit Windsor will run on holiday hours, but buses will not be running in Chatham-Kent. A garbage and recycling reminder for Chatham-Kent, services will be delayed one day due to the holiday. Collection in Windsor will not be impacted. This and all your local news updates anytime online. And in our social spotlight tonight, check out this little guy making use of a bird bath to clean those hard-to-reach places. This made me laugh. The open beak, the wings just in the right spot, enjoying what looks to be a gorgeous day. And I mean, Blue Jays, the birds, and the team have a special place in my family's heart, and it's timely. He's out just repping for his team that just qualified for the ALCS.
It's so great. And what I love about people that can, like, they're so creative. It's the music that just, for me, really sends that one home. I love it.
It enhances the comedy. It's great.
It really does. It really does. I love it. So if you see some fun video or a strange occurrence out there, collect some of that video for our social spotlight.
Yes, and then you can email it to us at newsnow@bellmedia.ca or text it to 10400.
The largest Lotto Max jackpot in Ontario history. Sorry, folks, it's been claimed. When we return, who won and what the plan is for all of that cash.
The latest news to start your day.
Interviews, conversations with the top officials, the difference makers, and personalities in Windsor Essex.
Only on Windsor Essex #1 morning show.
It's Mornings with Mike and Meg on AM 800.
Another beautiful day out there. Meteorologist Gary Archibald joins me one last time with a look at long weekend weather, and I see that there's a little bit more of a chance for rain tomorrow now.
Some rain tomorrow morning, and I think it will be light if we do see it. And the good news is the rest of long weekend looks fair tomorrow. Mostly cloudy, a high of 18 anticipated, and then Sunday into Monday, 21 followed by 22 degrees Celsius respectively, a mixture of sun and cloud, and fair weather Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, although Wednesday will see a sharp decline from low 20s down into the mid-teens, and a week from now, Friday, some more showers on the way. The gist of it is that the long weekend looks pretty good overall. Happy Thanksgiving.
We'll take it. It's not wall-to-wall rain, so we'll take it. All right. Thanks, Gary. We want to provide our viewers with an update about Ricardo Beneza tonight. As we told you, he was involved in a serious but survivable motorcycle accident. We're happy to report Ricardo is now back in Windsor, but still in hospital recouping from his injuries. He wanted us to thank all the viewers and listeners for calls, emails, and questions of concern to our staff when we're out in the community. Ricardo is working hard to get better so he can get right back here, back to work at CTV Windsor. The largest Lotto Max jackpot in Ontario's history has been claimed.
I checked it on the app and I thought it said $75,000, which was awesome. And until I realized there were a few more zeros. And then I looked again, and that's when it really hit me, that it was $75 million. First thing I said I got to do is I got to go tell my wife and share the news.
A few more zeros indeed. David Hatt recently stepped forward after winning $75 million in the August 19th draw. The Kingston man bought his ticket at the last minute on a whim. Hatt says he and his wife immediately thought about how many people they could help with the money. They plan on giving back to the community and donating to charities. Hatt also wants to buy a dream home for his family, of course, see Europe and play a few rounds of golf with some new golf clubs. A few more zeros indeed, Gary.
Yeah, that's a big shock, but I love the fact that their first thought was to give back and to help.
Isn't that great?
Their family, friends, and the community.
Because most people would immediately think golf clubs, Europe, house, maybe. So it is a nice story to go into the long Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, congrats.
On behalf of our entire crew here at CTV News Windsor on both sides of the camera, thank you so much for supporting local news.
For updates throughout the evening and, of course, over the long weekend, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
We'll be back with your only late local newscast tonight at 11.
See you then.